Brennan Boesch is no longer a Detroit Tiger. Good riddance. I know a lot of people have been asking me my opinion on this, and simple as this, I don't care. Good riddance. He was not needed on this team, and there's a plethora of reasons. So let's get into the first one. The left-handed amount of hitters on this club. Right now, if you look in the outfield, with Boesch there, it would have been Dirks, left-hander, Boesch, left-hander, Kelly, left-hander, and the Tigers want someone to right-hand platoon with Dirks. Well, let's see. Oh, and I forgot Quentin Berry, left-hander. Well, let's see. Like I named, all those guys who are 4th, 5th outfielders, let's see, are all left-handed. So that's how he feels out there. Secondly, he had a god-awful year. His OBP was 286 last year. He never, ever got hot. It wasn't the first half or second half. He had like a good week stretch. I remember we were going to Chicago. He was playing the Cubs. He had like 300 for 4 days in like a little series stretch, and that was it. And he just fell off the rest of the season. So, he never really got hot. He never had like the Boesch of the previous 2 years where, in 2011, Boesch was really good in the first half. He's hitting 300. He was hitting 300 a good chunk of that year, too. Then he had the thumb injury and got hurt, so he didn't play in the playoffs. And then the year before that, Bosch's rookie campaign, I remember when he came up against Texas, because that's when Justin Smoke, right before the Cliff Lee trade happened, man, he was ripping the cover off the ball. I remember going to a game in 2010. I've talked about this game, the one where David Ortiz, I was talking smack about him when he hit the 3 homers off Scherzer. Boesch was hitting like 353. I mean, he was destroying the ball. Him and Jackson both. Both those guys were rookies. It was that first half of 2010. I mean, he was just destroying the ball. And I remember his first hit or home run was a grand slam against the Angels in opposite field. I mean, everyone was talking, man, this kid's got light tower power. He can hit the ball the other way. He don't miss fastballs. I remember people here in Detroit listening to talk radio were saying he was going to have Albert Pujols power for a left-handed hitter. And a lot of people bought into it. I mean, I could go right now and grab a Scherzer my brother bought in 2010. If you don't know what a Scherzer is, it's I call them a Scherzer, but they're jersey shirts. They got the White Tigers D on the side. I've wore a couple of them in my videos before, and they got the player name and number. I remember they made the Scherzer of Boesch, and my brother bought it. I mean, and they were talking they couldn't keep them on stands enough. Kind of like when Quentin Berry got big this year for a short time. So, he had a lot of potential. And every year, I'm guilty of it too. Every year people put this kid on a pedestal. It was like, if he could do this and this and this and become this player, he could be a great player for a little while. But the thing is he's never done it. And year in and year out, these last 2 years, he's really fallen off the table. I mean, I've said this numerous amount of times about Brennan Boesch. He can't hit the inside fastball up and in. He misses on it so much. And the curveball, he gives up on the curveball, or not doesn't give up, but whiffs on the curveball, and he'll give up on that after he's down 0-2 real quick. He'll give up on the outside corner fastball because he don't want to strike out. He's going to try to coast for a ball, get a better pitch to hit, and he'll get struck out. Or, he'll rechase that one. Because this is what the thing about Brennan Boesch was. When he first came up in 2010, he was hitting fastball galore because people did not know how to pitch this kid. And they're like, he's got good power, he's got quick hands, how can we do it? And all of a sudden they realized, wait a second. We throw first pitch curveballs in the dirt. He'll chase because he's over aggressive at the plate. So teams would throw first pitch curveballs in the dirt, and Boesch would whiff. Second pitch, inside fastball, because he's got a long swing and he has a hard time getting to that inside pitch. Second pitch fastball inside, he'd miss, and then he got real nervous in 0-2 counts, and he would watch a bad pitch, foul off a fastball, and then they get him on a curve or a slider going away, or up and in with a fastball again, and that's how they pitch to him, and teams recognize it. And he was horrible at watching his pitches. Now, year 2 in 2011, I'll give this to Boesch. He was really watching his pitches a lot better. His strikeout rate had fallen a pretty good rate from what it was last year, the year before in 2010, and he was looking really good. Like I said, he had hit 300 going in the first half, and I think he had like 11, 10 home runs somewhere in there. He was having a pretty good year. And then he dipped off because his average, I think, in 2011 was 283 by the time he got hurt because he had fallen off tremendously in the last month or so. Let me do this double check here. Brennan Boesch's stats, because I don't want to sound like an idiot. Yeah, 283 right on the dot. And he had a 341 OBP, and he was slugging 458, which is not that great. And his OPS was almost 800, which is pretty good. And he had 16 homers and 54 RBIs. His splits in 2011, like I said, month by month, Let me find these here for you guys so I can let you know. It shouldn't take me this long to find this. Here we go. He hit 319 in April and March because the season started March 31st that year. He hit 186 in May, but in June, he hit 380. He had 6 homers, 13 RBIs. July, he fell off at 267, and then in August, 208, and he had the thumb injury. So, he had to sign it, and that's when I thought personally, like, man, maybe Brennan Boesch is finally breaking out. He's going to have a whole, consistent year, and then he got hurt, and then it was just gone from there. Gone from there. And then you had this past year. Oh my God, was this past year horrible. This year, he hit 240, 286 OVP, slugged 372. I mean, he had Brandon Inch numbers. He had 12 homers, and he matched his RBI total at 54. But he was god-awful. And I'll pull up his splits real quick. Here, the highest he hit in a month was in July when he hit 295. That was his only good month this entire year. Every month before that, he hit 240 or lower. So, he never really got it going. So, Boesch never really had it, he never really had a good time, or not a good time, but a good stretch of games that he did good, a good month besides July. And really, he was the odd man out because he was one of the cheapest to cut. The Tigers only got to pay, I think, under $400,000 now. They only got to pay a third of his salary because when they cut him early in spring training. And you get rid of a left-handed bat because they honestly have too damn many as it is. And on top of this, it frees up space because Jeff Coburnis is probably going to be the 4th or 5th outfielder because the outfield core is going to be Dirks, Jackson, Hunter, Coburnis, Kelly is probably going to be the main 4 guys or 5 guys that get the bulk of the time playing outfield in that little rotation there. Because Boesch, like I said, didn't have a spot. He was a god-awful outfielder. And now that Victor Martinez is back, he wasn't ever going to play DH because Victor Martinez is back. And the Tigers want him to start as many games as they can, probably close to 150 games. So he wasn't going to get any time there. So it just makes sense. And Quentin Berry, don't be surprised if Quentin Berry gets cut here pretty soon because they don't need Quentin Berry. Jeff Coburnis is just as fast as Quentin Berry. He had like 40-something steals in AAA. He hit 280 last year in AAA, so he's a better hitter, higher than anything Quentin Berry ever hit in a minor league season. And he's a better outfielder than Quentin Berry. So don't be surprised Berry gets cut because, like I said, they want a right-handed platoon bat for Andy Dirks, and Berry's a left-handed hitter that sucked ass after July, and people say he's a good defender, but he's really not. He takes extremely bad routes to balls and makes up with his speed, and I understand he was 21 for 21 in stolen bases, but Coburnis has wheels too, and he plays you a better outfield, and he hits left-handers at a pretty nice clip as well. So don't be surprised if Jeff Coburnis is up there. I think the outfield core this year will be Dirks, Hunter, Jackson, and Coburnis will be the main 4 guys that get the thing. Coburnis and Dirks will flip off, penning a right-hander, left-hander on the mound because Leland does that a lot. For platoon things, and it makes sense. So Brennan Boesch getting released does not surprise me one bit, and I agree with the move. You cannot sit here and live on past hype that he's going to do this, he's going to do that, he's going to learn some plate discipline. He's not. He wasn't. His swing was awful. His swing was long. His swing was big. He couldn't lay out the junk. He can't hit curveballs. He chases them. He can't hit inside fastballs, and he needs to do some adjusting to his swing. He's a big guy. I understand he's got a long swing, but he needs to do some adjusting to that swing because, frankly, he's not going to succeed with the way he does. I think the Yankees are probably going to go after him because Granderson's hurt. And it makes sense because Boesch has good power. Don't get me wrong. That's Bosch's thing. He has really good power. Ask Chris Sale. Chris Sale only gave up 2 home runs to left-handers this year. Guess who had both of them? It was Brennan Boesch. So he has a good power. But he fit well at Yankee Stadium, getting some cheap wins now and then, but it's when he makes contact, which isn't much, judging by his 284 OBP and his 243 average. So cheap homer galore is all you're going to get out of Brennan Boesch for the Yankees side. I think where he's going to go is the Yankees. That makes most logical sense because they could DH him on some days when Jeter's playing the field, and they could put him in the outfield as well. Or if they don't want to play Travis Hafner, I don't know. I'm not Joe Girardi. He can fill his own lineup card. But, like I said, don't be surprised if Barry's next. Boesch, I'm not sad to see him go. He can't live on past hype. Kind of reminds me of Ryan Rayburn last year where everyone's like, oh, Rayburn's going to get hot. He's going to do that thing because Rayburn usually hits 300 in the second half. I think he's like a career 285 second half hitter. And he didn't do it at all. And Brennan Boesch the same way. You can't live on past hype. You can't live on potential forever. It's the time we got to eventually step up, put up, shut up, and do what you got to do. And Brennan Boesch didn't do it. And it made logical sense. So many left-handed outfielders. And Boesch was the worst of all the fielding of all the four of Dirks, Barry, and Kelly. So he was the worst of those ones. So made sense, and I'm not gonna miss him. And I feel bad for you Yankee fans if you get him because he's gonna kill a lot of rallies and he strikes out a shit ton. So that's all I got for you guys today. And if anything else happens in Tigers news, I'll be here. Have a good one, guys.